morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our first town hall at World Tourism Forum Institute. And I'm very proud today to have Mr. Ismail Ertuğ. He is a member of the European Parliament and SND Vice President for Transformation, Innovation, and Strong Digital Europe. So why are we here today and why this platform? You know, we are living through very unprecedented time. In 2019, the World Tourism forecast was that it was the industry combined, travel and tourism contributed over 10% to global GDP, created 1 in 4 of world's new jobs. And it basically outperformed all of the other industries. So tourism was absolutely critical. Now moving forward to 2020, we have experienced this current pandemic, and it's putting livelihoods of millions of jobs in jeopardy in Europe, in Asia, as well as other parts of the world. So it's really important for us to have this conversation and dialogue that what the future recovery can look like. And there are some countries in Europe, as you know, are already beginning to loosen some of the controls. And it's really important for us to understand that under these times, what the European Parliament, what their planning is, and how they are going to support these nations towards the recovery. And for this purpose, I have my guests here, and I'm, first of all, start off by welcoming you, and then just explain to us a little bit your role and your contribution, how you are engaged and involved towards tourism. Thank you.
Yes. First of all, thank you very much. Good morning to all of you. The European Union is the first destination number 1 when it comes to tourism, if you look to the numbers. And the European Union, as you might know, has 27 member states. I mean, we're not 28 because the United Kingdom, they went out, 27 member states. So these member states, they have their representation, which is the Council of the European Union, the 27 member states. But on the other hand side, the European Union cannot work without a democratic legitimacy, and the legitimacy are the people. We have around 460 million people living in the European Union in the 27 member states, and they need a representation. And the representation, directly elected every 5 years, is the European Parliament, where we are right now, where I am member of the last 11 years. I'm representing Bavaria, the eastern part of Bavaria in Germany, by the way. So since the beginning, I'm working in transport issues, environmental issues, industry, and so this is in a nutshell that what I'm doing now. Within this period, within this term, we had the elections last year of the European Parliament. I'm representing my group, which is the Progressive Alliance of the Social Democrats and Democrats. Representing as Vice President the sectors Transformation, Innovation, and Strong Digital Europe. Transformation is for sure industry, mobility, innovation also, and the Strong Digital Europe does mean that I have to deal with the future steps towards to the digitalization, automatization of the European Union. This is my job, and this is my work.
That's amazing. So tell me a little bit more that how is European Parliament viewing the current crisis? Of course, as a wider situation, but specifically to travel and tourism, because we are expecting there are going to be 100 million job losses worldwide. In the coming months, there's 1 million jobs being lost every day. So these are staggering numbers and very, very scary, and more so for Europe, where Italy has been impacted, Spain heavily. I mean, these were the pillars, the main destinations of the worldwide tourism. And to see them crumbling like this is scary for the world. And we expect at this point for our governments to take the lead, so European Union is pivotal. So tell me about your readiness.
Yes, I fully agree with your assessment that tourism is of key importance for the worldwide economic. We have, and you know that better than me, millions of people working within this value chain. And the European Union, with his classical tourism countries, Spain, Italy, Greece, France, Germany, and others, they have to take care and they have to deal with it. But this Corona or COVID-19 crisis has shown us that this is a big, big challenge for all of us, not only for US or for the others, also for the European Union. Now, in the first or the last 8 weeks, we were locked down as everywhere in the world. Locked down. Now we are in the situation that the member states of the European Union are lifting step by step the containment measures. And this is now the situation to support all the sectors in the industry and also in tourism. But I have to admit that there is one handicap from our side as European Parliament. As I said, the European Parliament and the Council, the representatives of the 27 member states, we have a co-decision. That does mean we both make the legislations together. There are some exceptions, unfortunately, from our side. These are the foreign policy, for example, the economical policy, and the tourism policy. The tourism policies is a national competence, and the start or the coronavirus has shown us our limits, our, how can I say, the limits of that, what we can do. Now we are learning together with the member states what can be done in order to create, to shape the tourism after Corona within the European Union. Now we had several ideas. Next week, for example, and I don't want to forget to mention the European Commission. We have the Council and the Parliament. We are those who make the legislation. Yeah. But there is also the European Commission, which is the institution who has the power, who has the right to come up with legislative initiatives. And next week, the European Commission, they will propose a European roadmap towards the lifting of the containment measures. And this roadmap will include some important dossiers for the tourism sector. For example, a communication towards the tourism. And when I look to my sheet of paper, health and safety protocol will be inside there for the main tourism locations like hotels and other accommodations. And at the same time, the passenger transport will be tackled within this roadmap as well. And not to forget the issue how to deal with the consumers who has already paid their tickets or already made the bookings for the package travel. We had the discussion in the last 2 weeks in the European Union that the companies, they were afraid of the liquidity. They did not want to pay back the money, but whereas the European legislation was clear against this. So we are trying to combine this.
Okay, and so I'm glad that you've clarified about the European Parliament and the Commission's role, because sometimes people see them as one and confuse them, and especially for non-Europeans, it can be quite confusing, the Commission and the Parliament. So what I've understood is that I've just looked at a white paper that has just recently been produced. Okay, and I believe that it's come out of your office. Can you share some information about it? Because the world is right now hungry for this kind of structured approach. And I believe that there are some good ideas coming out of the Commission, which probably can be copied very, very quickly in other parts of the world as well, because it's all about standards and same standards. We are in this thing together. So if there's something that you can share, you know, the world today can learn from in other parts, non-European countries, then that's going to be very useful. And I went through this document and I said, this is exactly what we need, but I want you to tell us about it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to reiterate that the tourism sector is maybe the most vulnerable sector ever in the world. Yeah. Because the tourism is linked to all the other policy branches. If a politician makes stupid comments towards something, the tourists maybe are not coming, or some terrorist attacks, the tourism is going to suffer under this. Therefore, we have to take care of the tourism. And this paper, which is my paper for the first, my paper which has been written by me only, we have the situation. The European Commission will come up with their proposal next week. But we as European Parliament, we don't want to wait always to the European Commission. We know they have the initiative rights, but no one is hindering us to come up with some resolutions or communications. But in order to get a majority within this European Parliament for such a resolution, I have to start with a proposal. And this is my proposal, and I'm happy that you have read it already and find it good. In that paper, I clearly asked the European Commission or the European Union and the member states thinking about the European certification procedure. Because if you just make the scenario, the example, I'm a father of 2 kids, and I love to travel in the summer holidays, and I want to go maybe to Spain. But right. Now I have a little bit the doubt, or to Italy or to Greece, or, you know, it doesn't make a difference, the country. But it makes me a little bit nervous, not knowing if there are some social distancing measures, for example, or are the people healthy there who are serving for us. Therefore, we need a clear certification system, and this certification can only be done, if you ask me, only on European level. It would be ideally on global level, but due to the fact that maybe the World Tourism Forum could support this idea, maybe. So we should start on European level on thinking about the different areas. When it comes to social distancing, when it comes to environment, and also not to forget, I just want to close with this remark, we should not forget the future, the automation of tourism. For the moment, we have some works within the tourism sector, which is going to be done by the people, by the workforce, which is not needed. If we could accelerate the automation in this sector, we could use this workforce maybe in other areas of the tourism. I think in the future, we will need some mobile teams who make disinfection the all day long, for example. So this is just a question, just an idea how we can overcome or shape our new future in tourism.
Right. So the word that is really jumping at me from what you've said is automation. So what I found interesting in this paper is that this is talking about standards, okay? And you are really trying to push through standards for hotel accommodation. That's the priority. So you have served this thing. When will it be rolled out? When will it be a law? For this to start happening, or will this just sit in the buildings of the parliament? You know, because people
Yes.
need this kind of guidelines, and countries need it. You know, so that they're looking towards European Union as that beacon.
Yes, it's a good question. So we try to accelerate as European Parliament. What is needed in order to make it concrete, to roll out, for example? What we need is the European Commission must take this up and must create maybe my paper, or because I have sent it to the European Commission as well, it's up to them to take over or to partially or fully. Let's play the scenario that the European Commission take these ideas up. They can come up with a guideline, for example. The guideline is not binding for the member states, right? Because, as I said before, the competence lays in the hand of the national prime ministers and presidents. But the member states, they have a highly interest in having a common approach, because they know that tourism can only be shaped in a good way if they do it together.
Absolutely. And because what I'm reading here is you've talked about bold ideas. And I think this is where we are together as humanity, that we need big, bold ideas to move the needle now. That is where we are sitting. Even for a World Tourism Forum ourselves, we are working very closely with all the G20 countries. We want to collaborate with EU, hence this interview, all the international organizations, and see that how we can have a common goal, common objectives, because we are all in this together. This is unprecedented times. So what I've picked up, I think the words which have really, really resonated with me today in this discussion with you is that the key is standards. Automation has jumped at me, which is I believe that by automation you mean digitization is very important. And I think to some extent we are already seeing that a lot of meetings, because tourism is also, let's not forget, one of the biggest polluters of the planet, so I think it's easing the pressure on the retrospect on the world today. The world is healing where the environment is concerned. So I think it's going to be a new normal and new value systems where the tourism is concerned. So how does environment play into all of this?
Yes. So I just want to add that the European Union is the front runner when it comes to CO2 emission savings and so on worldwide. And we have, for sure, the political debate within the European Union. Should we go faster? Should we accelerate? Should we higher the emission targets, or because of coronavirus, in order to facilitate the life of the companies coming down with the emission target? This political debate is ongoing. What I want to say is the European Commission, or the European Union in that sense, before the coronavirus, we had a clear work program. And within this work program, one of the major, if not the biggest challenge, was the Green Deal of the European Union. The Green Deal is a big approach that goes into every sector, not only tourism one. But if you make your transport more sustainable, this will have positive impacts to the environment, to the tourism as well. Maybe I think so, that this corona crisis could shape or could give us the starting point for a more sustainable world, more sustainable tourism. And excuse me, I think, now I'm back. This could open up a new possibility or new ways how to shape the tourism via saving the CO2 emissions in the future. If it's cruise shipping, if it's aviation, transport, roads, railway, we have to support in particular those modes who are more sustainable, and all those who are not sustainable yet, we have to give them the incentive to follow.
Absolutely. So the key here, I think, would be some of those incentives. And I think the world, again, is looking towards the EU. You are right. There's tremendous work has been done in that part of the world, to contain the sustainability and the environment. And there are many, many good stories and role models there. Thank you very much, Mr. Ertuğ. This has been very, very insightful. And for sure, World Tourism Forum Institute, we will keep on engaging you, and we want to be able to make our contribution as well. And the world needs to hear more. And we probably will tap into you again, maybe, because this is a moving situation. There's the situation analysis by WHO changes every day. This is far from over. So I think we will get in touch with you again for some more insights, and do come back to us. Let us know when this paper is picked up by the EU, and if these standards are rolled out. And we wish you luck, and be safe, be home, and thank you very much.